Good evening and welcome to Schooling at Home Parent Q&A online forum. Now, of course, VLC Schooling at Home is a free online live chat help session streamed on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. to give parents the opportunity to ask questions that will help support children in their learning at home. Now, whether you're supporting full-time studies due to COVID-19 restrictions or have questions about how to support learning during study time, this platform provides practical help for parents to be effective when supporting student learning at home. Now, interestingly enough, this week we received quite a number of questions regarding health and safety of children at school given the impact of COVID-19. Now, joining us today to answer some of these questions that you guys submitted is Aisha Carr. Now, Aisha has been in health and wellness for over 20 years, serving in the local hospital, Eric Williams Medical Sciences Complex here in Trinidad and Tobago, to becoming one of the pioneer emergency medical technicians in the country. She has served with the Adventist Development and Relief Agency locally and regionally, participating at management and response levels and providing community resilience services and psychological first aid. Her service in providing concierge services to locals and returning national continues to be one of our main focuses. Aisha is always willing to support those who can benefit from her skills and knowledge, and certainly we expect that parents viewing live and those who will view the replay are sure to benefit from our discussion tonight. So of course, we don't wait any further. We want to welcome her to our online platform. Aisha, welcome. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm so glad. Thank you so much for joining in last minute when we got these questions on health and safety at home. And even as I mentioned to you before coming on live, we had some questions about safety at school. And of course, we have a parent in the background waiting. So I'm just going to have a discussion with you with some of the questions that we have. And then we're going to bring Mommy Parvati in. So additional questions she may have for you, we're going to be able to share the platform to do that. So, Aisha, when we start talking about safety at school in the post-COVID-19 impact, can you share with us what new measures do you believe parents can expect schools to implement?
Okay. Now my views and are only opinions, and because I do not have any forehand information about what the Ministry of Education is going to put in place. So some of the measures that may be put in place will include hygiene, hand washing and so forth. I believe there will be some form of social distancing in the classrooms. In some countries, parents are not allowed into the main school area. You may find that your drop-off points would be no further than the entrance of the school compound. So those are some of the things that parents may see as being different. You may get requests that each child carry their own hand sanitizers. There may be wash areas designated for children to wash their hands and so forth. They may even implement times in terms of the time for schooling. Some schools in some countries have implemented different schedules for school children so that they can be able to deal with the amount of children coming in or accessing the school at one point in time. So those are some of the measures that parents can look out for, some of the changes that may occur.
Okay, and another question coming in is what should parents be mindful to encourage or discourage when preparing children to return to school?
Well, some of these things may include not, the usual playing with other children. I mean, it's difficult because these kids have not seen their friends in a long time, and there might be some difficulty in trying to get your child to adhere to, social distancing at school. But certainly the teachers and those that are there, they will do their best to ensure that this is adhered to. However, as a parent, you want to encourage your child to wash their hands after, before they eat, after they eat. Encourage them, teach them to sneeze in their elbows, cough in their elbows. If that happens, tissue, putting the tissue in a place that they can easily reach. I know in the Caribbean, we have a tendency to want to use rags. That is not a really healthy way to manage bodily fluids. The suggestion is, or the best practice will be tissue, disposable tissue that can be thrown away. So those are some of the things that as parents, you can encourage your children at this time.
Okay, great. And we have one more general question that was asked, which is how can parents help their school administration during this period of adjustment? Because, of course, we would like to think that collaboration is always a great experience when we are all getting accustomed to a new way of doing something. So, what
Right.
can parents do to support their school administration and or to help a smooth transition back into the school system given restrictions that we can expect to have to deal with?
Okay, so being a part of your Parents Teachers Association will be a big deal. Um, Using virtual connections, parents and teachers should sort of try to communicate as much as is possible concerning what is happening with the children. Because this is new ground, this is new territory, and what you will discover, what you will find, is that there are no solid answers. And what we want to avoid is to try or seem to want to blame the administration for certain things. We have to all work together. So, as parents, putting yourself in a position or suggesting to the administration that you are available to provide whatever assistance during this time is one way that you can assist your local school administrations. Having small groups of parents that can, for instance, form teams that can facilitate various things, whether it is cleaning, um, preparing of, for instance, for smaller children where they have toys and so on. All of these things is sanitation type of activity that needs to take place will require a lot of manpower. So whether parents want to get together as teams to help to assist the schools to be able to do that, the sanitation part of it, if parents want to make themselves available, you speak to the administration that you can have parents who are on the compound who can assist in ensuring that the children adhere to certain basic rules, if you want to call it that. That also is one way that you can also assist your administration. But most of all, communicating with your administration is important.
Okay, I understand. So I want to invite Mommy Parvati on. Let's pull her into the stream. Hi, Mommy. How are you? Uh, I see your mic is muted, Mommy. Ooh, can I help her? Okay,
Hi,
great. Hi, Mommy. How you doing?
I am okay. Good
Do
night.
you do you have any questions to ask regarding having your child or children get settled back into school this coming September and so on?
Yes. Well, my child will be writing the SCA exam, so she would be in school July the 20th. I was wondering, her classroom has a number of 32 students. I wanted to know how they would separate them when they start lessons.
Okay, well, based on the information that has been given by the Ministry of Education so far, they seem to be looking at practicing that social distancing in the school. So given that regular school is not out, it means that they will have that extra space. So I believe that is what the Ministry of Education is planning to do at this time. And again, it's my opinion. Based on what we've heard so far, this seems to be the way they're going.
Yes, because only examination students are going to be coming out, whether we're looking at the primary or the secondary level. So
Correct.
there is significantly less students at school, which
Yeah.
would allow them to space the kids out in the classrooms to allow for proper social distancing during session. There is a capacity for space. We know
Yes.
definitely that
Certainly.
that could be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Another thing I wanted to find out too about the gathering, like when they see their friends for a long while, and although you tell children, stay apart, children is children.
Yeah.
I wanted to know how they would supervise them because I mean the teachers can't be there 24 hours behind them, looking at them all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that is a difficult road. It's also an uncharted course of action, given especially the fact that they have been away from each other for so long. It's basically the whole of the year so far. So there is an expectation that they would want to interact. However, if as parents you let the child know what the expectations are going out to school at this time is for their safety and so on, and then you as the parents explain that um, there is no getting away from it, but there will be a significant amount of fear that will be created in the child, both with interacting with their children, fear of getting sick, as well as breaking mommy or daddy's rules or or the school rules. So a lot of fear will be surrounding that. As parents, what parents need to do is to prepare themselves to be available. Prepare yourself to listen. Prepare yourself to try to understand the child and the child's feelings prior to going out to school. That discussion needs to happen. You need to have that discussion with your child. How do you feel about going out to school? What do you think, based on what has happened? Let them express themselves, because a lot of times children harbor those feelings. They do not know how to communicate those feelings. And as a parent, you will need to be on the alert for any changes in behavior, changes in how the child speaks or interacts or communicates with you, so that you can begin to deal with anything that may be bothering them psychologically in this new adjustment that is to take place. I don't know if I've answered your question, but it is
Yes,
it
you
is a
did.
difficult road. It is it will be difficult for everyone, for the teachers, for you as a parent, for the children.
Aisha, do you have any recommendations in terms of helping parents understand how they could break that conversation down with the kids? Because I can imagine for some parents it might be a conversation of do this, don't do that, but then you're taking the approach that says parents need to have understanding and understand the child's perspective and how they feel. So what tips can you give to parents to help them understand how they could explain the importance of hygiene, of social distancing, and all these things? Are there any tips you could give to help them break it down to, let's say, the level of a 5-year old or an 8-year old, that it could encourage, because there's understanding, there might be more compliance with what we're asking of them?
Sure. Um, Children at that age really do understand. What you can do is always get down at the child's level. Try not to speak over your child. That that gives them anxiety. So it means that you need to sit, you need to stoop, you need to kneel, get to their eye level. Then you need to, as a parent, search for information online. There are lots of information there. UNICEF, World Health Organization, they have some tips there. You can check it out in terms of how you communicate with your child about this. So you can pull from these the various suggestions that's are there, that's online. Um, get down at the child's level, share with them your concerns, that you do care about them and that you want them to be healthy and strong. You can do simple things as taking flour and pretend that that is the virus, but it just cannot be seen. And this is what flour looks like. And you paste it on your hands, and you say the virus can come on your hands. Now rub your nose, and they see the flour end up on their nose. Now, you know, wipe your hand, they'll see it on their hand. Oh, get something in your pocket. They push their hands in your pocket, out comes something with the flour on it. So you're showing them how the virus can spread, and let them know it's invisible. It's an invisible enemy, and we need to protect ourselves. And to protect ourselves, we need to wash our hands. So when you go and you wash the flour off, now they can see their hands are nice and clean. And this is what can happen if you're trying to protect yourself from the enemy. You can even tell them, give you a hug and see what happens. And they can see the virus spread from themselves to you, because the flour goes from themselves to you. So getting practical with them will be important. Um, Use suggestions that you may find online. Older children, it's good. I mean, at this time, it would be nice that everybody has a good relationship with their children. So once you share with them your concerns and what will be the ground rules, they can apply it. If you are having problems communicating with your child, then I will suggest that you get help, so that you could communicate to them and assist them. So those are some of the things that you can do to communicate with your child. Get fun examples that can teach them what to do when they go out to school.
Yeah. Mommy Parvati, do you have any other questions concerning
No,
this?
no, it was very informative.
Yeah. Okay, I just have one more question. So I'm gonna just put you in the background, okay, mommy? Um, I have one more question that came in, and the question says, what should we buy to give our kids to encourage hygiene? So I know, like, even at the beginning of COVID, people were rushing out for cleansing products and whatever. But now that kids are the ones they have to send out, the question is saying, what should we buy to give our kids? And I'm guessing they mean maybe to give them to carry to school, to
Yeah.
encourage hygiene. Any thoughts on this to share?
Right. So disposable tissues, hand sanitizers, those will be beneficial. I believe there will be a face mask situation taking place as well. I do not know to what extent it's going to they're going to use that, if they're going to have protective gear in the classroom itself. I do not know. Um, but certainly having a face mask that's breathable, um, that doesn't, the child doesn't feel stifled. Again, there are health concerns using the face mask as well. But generally, these would be the things that you'd want to get a child. Hand sanitizers, tissues, their own face mask. Um, yeah, that's the basic. Soap, liquid soap, maybe a small bottle of liquid soap, which is better to use than the hand sanitizer all the time. That also should be useful. What parents should be mindful of with the increased hand washing will be the increased ability, or the increased potential, sorry, for children to suffer with dry skin problems, cracking of the skin, therefore
Yeah.
bacteria is going to get in and stuff like that. So what you want to do when your children comes home from school will be And I guess this is going to talk to how many school uniforms you're going to have and all of that, right? So you have to look at, okay, so children sometimes use one pants for 2 days, 3 days, as the case may be.
Yeah.
An overall, a skirt. So it means that when the child comes home from school, you need to have a designated area where they basically take off their clothing. Then they go straight to
Right.
have a bath. Right? So they need to do that when they get home. Once they've done that, moisturizing the skin will be helpful so that all that hand washing and exposure to hand sanitizers can be balanced off. So using something that's natural, coconut oil, olive oil, moisturizing creams or something of that sort will help. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
But
You
you
had a question.
mentioned, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. Yes.
You mentioned germs and so on, let's say being on the school uniform, and you mentioned, many students wear, let's say, their school skirt, their pants, or their overalls for a couple days out of the week in a lot of instances. So in a case like that, where we're concerned about this virus, and
Mhm.
they have this item of clothing that they're wearing multiple days per week, what can parents do to sanitize or disinfect? Or I mightn't be using the correct word, but so by all means correct me. But what can parents use, or what really is the best case scenario when it comes to the uniform that typically a lot of students would have worn more than one day, before it's put into the laundry?
Yeah, soap and water is usually the best thing. But in the absence of that, especially in Trinidad and Tobago here, where we're having water issues, you may need to look at alternatives. So if it means steaming the uniform every evening again, so exposing it to that heat should
Right.
kill any bacteria that's on it, right?
Hmm.
But soap and water is the best.
And
Once
definitely
you
trying not to mix those
mix your clothes.
articles of clothing with other articles of clothing.
Correct. So
Yeah.
shoes, socks, and the wear for that day should be completely separated from all the other clothing or spaces where you have the potential to have high traffic in your home. So somebody is going in. And so if you're going to designate maybe a little cupboard area or something like that where those things are going to be, that might be the best thing.
Right. So even before we close, Aisha, do you have any final um, tips, recommendations, points of advice to leave with parents who are, getting ready, probably feeling nervous for their kids to go back out? But exams are coming, so we have to get in that do what you had to do mode. What final tips are there that you can leave with our parents?
Um, Try to be as calm as possible. Uh, this is an exam, but it's not the end of your child's life. All right. Let them do their best. And you need to be prepared as a parent. Let them know that you are okay. You are okay with their best. And that, tomorrow will come and there will be other opportunities, whatever they are, and they will excel at whatever they do. And, just keep that positive frame of mind. As I said before, be open to your children, notice them. I know that some parents might be absorbed with how they're making ends meet and all of that, and you can ignore the cries of a child because that cry may come in different forms. It may come in silence, it may come in just disruptive behavior, it may come in not eating. You, as a parent, need to pick up on those signs.
Yeah.
So be alert, be aware that your children will have different responses than you as an adult, and each child is different. There isn't one way that a child will respond to a particular thing, and therefore, as a parent, you need to know your child so you know when they are heading down in a direction that's not healthy.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking time to join us, Aisha. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, moms, dads, aunties, uncles, we hope that the information that we shared with you this evening concerning getting back into school in a post COVID, recovering from COVID world is something that you would have found helpful. I want to encourage all of you, for those of you that have more questions about health and responsiveness, feel free to visit the CDC's website. And we're definitely going to post it in the description link below, as well as in the comment section, because the CDC site has a lot of information regarding considerations for schools, considerations for parents. So it would help you to get in that. If you are primarily, for example, using Facebook as a social media outlet, you could visit the SRC private primary page. They recently completed a full series on school preparedness for COVID-19. So once again, thank you so much for visiting with and tuning in. If you're looking at the replay, check the comment section below. You'll find a lot of nice new information to help you along the way. Have a great night.